Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree large farmhouse autumn crate. I know lots of people have been using these box signs to make little tiny crates, but I was inspired by these two crates from LTD Commodities. Now granted, they were a lot of money and they were only 5 inches square. We're going to make a really big one. So we're going to use 4 of these thankful signs. You can also use the grateful one or the ones for Halloween, whichever ones you want. I'm going to use a piece of foam board. This is just black foam board from the Dollar Tree. I just have a piece left over. Our box cutter, of course, this is my favorite utility knife that is also from the Dollar Tree. We're going to just use a couple of the tumbling tower blocks just for corner supports. They make really good corner supports. And my ever trusty Gorilla hot glue sticks. But you could use wood glue if you prefer. You could use whatever glue you like. And of course, I'm going to need my hot glue gun. So I wanted to just say that Sarah Jane from Chic on the Cheap, it was the first person that I saw to use these to make a cute little crate to put jars in, and it came out so adorable. I was like, well, I can't make one better than that. And not that this is better than that, but I couldn't make one. I couldn't improve on her design, let's put it that way. But the other day I was scrolling through LTD Commodities catalog and I saw these cute little these little boxes. Now, originally I was thinking how cute it would be to use the thankful ones, like basically the black and white buffalo check as well as the plaid, just to get them different around all 4 sides. But I decided, first of all, I didn't have any extra ones of those, but I bought extra ones of these. But I decided it would just be more my style, just to be uniform. So there's a couple of notes about taking these apart. First of all, they do snap apart really easy. We're going to use the corner supports, but you can just unattach them later if you want to. Here's what I had found. So basically, you want to open all 4 sides. You cut off the skinny ends, and you go ahead and cut the separate the sides from the word portion. Now the word portion is wider. The 2 side pieces are beveled on 3 corners and square on another corner. Beveled is just that 90-degree angle, and the word piece is beveled on all 4 sides. Now I will tell you what I did find was that they're not all the same size, but it's okay. It still worked out. It still worked out just fine. So this box ends up being about 12-inch square, which is a really, really nice size, but I couldn't find a 12-inch square sign from the Dollar Tree to give it a nice hard bottom. And of course I could have used rulers or whatever, but I just decided to give it this false bottom. It's just going to hold styrofoam pumpkins. That was the inspiration. It just had flowers and styrofoam pumpkins in it, so I just figured that's enough for me. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the 4 pieces that have the hanger on them. And the hanger, this is another thing. I thought it would be really cool if the hanger holds the bottom. However, I found out, and you'll find out if you buy this, if you make this, that all of the hangers are not positioned exactly the same on each of the signs. So we'll fix that. If yours are the same, go with it. If not, we'll fix it, I promise. So what I'm doing is I've lined up 2 corners at a time, and I've taken those little triangles and I've glued them in. I glued it to one side while I was holding this piece of square, and then I glued it to the other side after it was cooled off on the one side. I didn't worry about gluing the corners. It was 100% fine with me that they don't look 100% perfect from the outside. I guess, again, perfectly imperfect, right? That's what we always say. So now I didn't just measure the sign. I wanted it to fit in my crate. So what I did was I actually put my crate down. Now I did notice, because they're different sizes, that one of my sides was a little wonky. It was actually like bowed in. So what I wanted to do was I took my square and I pushed the square against the side that was wonky and I straightened it out. Basically, I made the box square while I was measuring. And then I took a white chalk marker so you could see it on the camera. You don't need to use the white chalk marker. You could use a pencil. But obviously I wanted you guys to see what I was doing. So the first thing I did was I made the first line. I made it square. And then I went to the second and the corner, excuse me. And then I went ahead and I did each side individually just so I would have a perfect fit. Now I will tell you, hindsight being what it is, I should have really paid attention to which side was the wonky one, because I ended up twisting my board around and I didn't get it perfectly lined up with the wonky piece. But it really is okay. Like I said, there's just a tiny gap at the bottom and I'm not really worried about it. Again, it's just going to hold some cute little, like, I was even thinking about, I just got those melamine plates from the Dollar Tree that I thought would sit really nice in here. Because this is a 12-inch box, it will hold an 11-inch plate really nicely. Okay, so I just made the bottom, whatever size bottom you guys have, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to do that as well. All right, and you want to cut it out. I like the utility knife. You want to make sure you have a sharp one so you don't tear up your foam board, okay? If this is your first time stopping by my channel, hi, my name is Jeri-Ann. We do lots of DIYs here and Dollar Tree hauls and stuff like that. So, I don't know why I just said that. That was so weird. Okay, anyhow. But now you'll see I've turned it over and I'm trying to fit it in. I ended up pulling off 2 of the hangers were at the perfect, like, same height and the perfect width to hold the foam board. 2 of them were much closer to the edge of the board. So all I did was I pulled off the 2 that I had to adjust and I glued them after the fact. So you'll see here, I took the foam board and I put it square in the piece. I put glue under the 2 hangers that were already there. And then I'm going to add the 2 hangers back. So you want to glue on the bottom where it sits on the foam board, and you want to glue on the side where it sits on the board. So originally I was thinking to make all 4 squares, like the thankful square and then the top square. But I realized that you could do it that way, but this one just seemed like a little bit easier. I don't know, it just seemed easier to me at first, so that's why I did it this way. So now Jenga blocks aren't square, they're a rectangle. Well, obviously they're a rectangle, but from the top, they're not a perfect square. So what I did was I took the long side and I put it against the same side, basically. I did that too, and then across the way I did the opposite side. So the middle section at first is going to get glued to the like a wide piece on 2 sides and then like a skinny piece on the other sides. But I'll show you what I mean. It's really, I'm telling you, it's weird that I'm saying it, but you'll understand. So what I did was I took 2 of the end pieces that still had corners on them, and I used them to hold up 2 of the end pieces that didn't, so that I could use them as spacers. I did try laying it down, and I just couldn't get the spacer to stay. I just couldn't get the spacer to stay properly. But you want the space to be the thickness of the board, because it will work out to be 2 heights of Jenga blocks, or 3 heights of Jenga blocks. 2 heights of Jenga blocks. Yeah, 2 heights of Jenga blocks. So that would just ended up being like the perfect space, okay? So here's what we're going to do. Very carefully try to balance. If you have a partner or someone who can help you hold this, absolutely go for it. But for Jim to help me, you guys, his arms would be in the way of the camera and there was no way you'd be able to see what I was doing. Plus, I want to show you how to do it by yourself, because not everybody does have a partner. But it would definitely be a lot easier if I had a partner helping me. But basically, I just took the 2 pieces and I used them to hold up the little spacer, and I laid the spacer down, and then I glued the cross piece. I glued, the first piece that I glued on was on one of the Jenga blocks that was kind of the wide section. Once we get this middle section put on, we're going to double up those Jenga blocks, so don't you worry about that, okay? But for right now, this is just a temporary hold. We know how our corners are going to line up. That's why we put that Jenga block there already. And I know it's a tumbling tower game, sorry, but that's just the way I always refer to it. Okay? So then, after you have all 4 corners done, you can go ahead and take the tumbling tower block. And if I have one going with the wide section on the right board, then I'm going to make it perpendicular. So basically each corner is going to make like an L, okay? As opposed to smashing 2 up next to each other, which you could have done. We could have done. I just thought it would be better support to have it going in an L shape. And when we do the 3rd row, we're going to make the L go in the other direction, which is fine. You don't have to do that either. I just thought it would be better to have our seams not on top of each other. Okay, so now for the, as I continue to add the Jenga blocks. For the third layer, it is a little bit more difficult to hold that spacer. I will tell you, but here's what ended up happening. So first I was like, how am I going to hold this spacer? Well, then I realized that that top row lines up perfectly with the top of the Jenga blocks. Now, to achieve this, I have those corner supports all the way down to the bottom of the board. And I have the Jenga blocks sitting on those corner supports 2 Jenga blocks high. And then it will line up perfectly with the top board. Now, if you feel ambitious and you want to take your corner supports and make them 2 Jenga blocks high, you can. If you want to do that, put on your bottom row and your top row, and then add your middle row centered third. I mean, that would be like a good way to do it too. I only had 4 of these, so I couldn't show you both ways. But I might go back and get more because it came out really cute and I'm really loving it. So you see what I'm doing here, and I'm just lining up with the top space. Now you see I do have one that's kind of wonky, but that didn't bother me. If it bothers you that things aren't absolutely perfectly lined up, you probably shouldn't buy your supplies from the Dollar Tree. I'm just kidding. If it does bother you, then definitely do the bottom row, the top row, and then the middle row. You can adjust the middle row, okay? Now, if you did this with, say, regular hot glue, you could always take it apart, but the Gorilla Hot Glue, once it sets up, it really sets up, especially on wood. This puppy's not coming off. And then you want to repeat it all the way around. But don't you guys think that this would look cute if it was in the other plaid as well, like kind of a mixed combination? I thought that if I did this and I could turn it from time to time, you know, you would turn it, say, if Halloween was on one side and autumn was on the other, that would be really cute too. But again, I kind of have this weird, I'm weird about, I don't know. I'm weird, like if you could see it, then I'm thinking everybody could see it. I know that that's crazy, but that's just me. Don't be like me. So now we're just going to make that, add that additional corner block, again, perpendicular to the first one that we put. And just you want to really make sure it holds before you move on. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take those 4 of the sides, that don't have corner pieces still stuck to them. Of course, I don't really throw out scraps like this because you never know when you're going to need something. And I turned my board over and I noticed that the corner pieces fit absolutely 100% perfect in the corner there. So what they're going to do is they're actually going to support the bottom a little bit, because not only am I gluing them to the bottom, but I'm adding a little glue around the corner where it actually fits the 2 sides. Okay? So I added some glue, pushed it in the corner, let it set up, and I did this to all 4 corners. Not only does it give it cute little feet from the front, but again, it gives it that a little bit of extra support for the bottom as well. Okay? And I just repeated this for all 4 sides. And then we're done. The paper sometimes was a little hanging over the sign pieces, but if you want to trim that, you can. Again, it didn't bother me. I just think this thing came out so adorable. We have a whole bunch of pumpkin tutorials coming up this week, so stay tuned to see what I'm going to do with all of these fun little pumpkins that I colored. And that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested in learning how to make this crate. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!